old educational system, Craig invested his time developing others and helping out for the past several years, or with the district executive, on or with the district executive. And he apologizes for taking some time to focus on himself. Now, this speech is from the Advanced Communication Manual, Speeches by Management. The project is called Adversarial Relationship. He is required to present on a controversial topic and then receive and respond to questions from you. So your role in this play, you the audience, is to be a group of human resource professionals in the area of staffing, managers requiring contracted personnel, or contracting officers. I'll just go over that again because the first time I read it I said, oh. So your role in this play is to be a group of human resource professionals in the area of staffing. So you're going to be either managers requiring contracted personnel, managers requiring contracted personnel or contracting officers, or resource professionals in the area of staffing. Take your pick. Craig often encourages us to think beyond the tide of conventional thinking. Instead of going with the flow of the crowd, think. Think critically. Analyze and meditate. Think for yourself. Ride your own ripple. Please welcome Craig Sr. with his speech entitled Qualified or Capable, an Exceptional Exception. Qualified or capable, an exceptional exception. Before you applaud, let Mr. Tugger, we have 15 minutes for the whole presentation. Craig will be speaking for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then the rest of the time will eat up the 15 minutes. Sorry, I meant to mention that earlier. So once again, please welcome Craig with his speech, Qualified or Capable, an Exceptional Exception, Craig Sr.
30 years ago, 1988, I moved from Hamilton, Ontario, to our nation's capital, Ottawa, to work with a company that some of you might have heard of, SHL System House. Yes, some hands going up there. Some people with less gray hair don't recognize the name of the company. It was the darling of computer consulting, or IT as we called it back then, systems integration here in Ottawa, a world-renowned firm started by Rod Bryden and so on. I was so unqualified for the job that they created a new role for me low enough for my abilities. But one thing they also knew about me is I'm a voracious learner, unending, unrelenting learner of everything. So one of the projects they put me on was the Canada Post trace mail system. Some of you may have heard of that one. Remember the mail letters that had a colored label that would go over it and it had a barcode on it? That's trace mail. The trace mail envelope had a barcode symbol on it. And for some reason, I just love the combination of art and science that goes into a light going out of a wand and coming back and converting it into data. That for me was just magic. I just loved doing that. From there, they put me on to the Canada Post Research and Development Center. We ran the operation for a couple of years. The Canada Post R&D Center was all about studying and learning how barcode symbols, or we call it automated identification technologies, could help postal systems to be able to sort mail and get it to your door faster. I was free to research my heart's desire, undoing boxes and doing them up again, spinning mail around on belts and trying out different scanners, and I became an expert in barcode technology. I was there for a couple of years. System House moved me on to another project. Many of you may have heard of the Department of National Defense, D&D. There was a project we had outfitting the 3 supply depots that Canada has. They were just building a brand new one in Montreal. It was 780,000 square feet. And how many of you have ever seen the movie Temple of Doom? Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. Do you remember the scene where the Ark of the Covenant goes into this warehouse? It was that big. We could not see the end of the warehouse. So my role was to select barcode technology to go on items, on shelving, equipment that would scan it. So this is really cool stuff. Some of it was worn on belts. People would go around and scan things. Some of it was put onto cranes so that people would go up and go to the shelf. And they would scan items as they were picking them. There were Cuban Way stations. Cuban Way is a station that would measure, automatically measure pallets of supplies or smaller boxes also, and then they would scan the barcodes there. So there was my whole world right there, and it was magical. And I found out from a friend of mine who inherited that system that much of the equipment survives to this day. Thank you. So that was a validation. I was able to go on to some other projects, and not specifically for barcode, but I would listen over the cubicle wall for things that are happening. And occasionally, as recently, I was at the D&D Paper Records Center, which has 11,000 storage locations for boxes of carbon footprint paper. They didn't have any barcodes on their shelves. So I hear this going on, and I say, by the way, on top of my work, I'll do this for you. Really? Because they had no idea what they were doing. So I took that on, wrote the specification for the barcode label, wrote the procedure for how to put the barcode label on a shelf. It sounds like it would be simple. It isn't that simple when you have one chance to get it right. And it went perfectly. 0 failures for 11,000 locations. Recently, I received a request for proposal. So I provide contract consulting services. I received a request for proposal for a barcode, get this, expert for D&D to provide or to specify, to work on putting barcodes or auto ID technology on their weapons. Can you imagine my response?
Please.
Sort of like, yes. This is for me. So I immediately call. So I'm your person, propose me, yada, yada, yada. Here's my resume. I have to do this project. I say, great, it looks good. Contact the client, it looks good. It goes in, it hits the contract officer, who says, unqualified. I'm unqualified to do the contract because I do not have a college certificate. I do not have a degree from a university. I am more than capable of doing the work. I wasn't qualified to do that work. So why do they have qualification criteria that kicks people out who are capable? Why is that? Why?
Because it's easy to fix.
It's easy. And it's hard to select someone who's capable but doesn't have those qualification criteria. Back in the year 2000, I was hiring a technical writer. So I sent the ads out. We got in the resumes, I went through them, I invited people in for the interview. I looked at the most qualified, most certified individual, interviewed them, and I interviewed a few others who were kind of close. The one we selected, the one I selected, was not the most qualified one, was not the most certified one, but they turned out to be a fabulously capable person. My criteria that tilted it over was willing to learn and cheerful. Because I knew that I had a particular standards and processes that I wanted my technical writer to follow, and I felt that it was likely that the person that was most certified might be the least taught, in particular when they sat like this. So I chose the one who was smiling, sat on the edge of their seat, and was cheerful. Later, that person let me know that they recognized me from going to the same church, but they didn't want to say it because they didn't want to influence my decision. And so what value did I show?
Integrity.
Integrity. So that worked out very well. So what's in it for us? What are we to do with that? What are you going to do with that? I propose that in your request for proposal, in your ads looking for candidates, that you add 3 words, 3 simple words, equivalent to education. So that someone whose resume screams capability can be invited in, and your organization can receive the benefit of their capability, and likely, I might add, enthusiasm. You can receive the benefit of that. Yes, it requires you to do more work, more discernment. I suggest to you that the Phoenix pay system is run by people who have degrees in university.
Yes.
How many more examples would you like of abject failures of people who were qualified but not capable enough? You have lots of examples. I don't need to give you more. 3 simple words, equivalent to education. And I believe you are going a long way to serving your organization and our country. Perhaps you have some questions.
What do you think about hiring someone with the potential of providing the opportunity to complete their education before their college or university?
What do I think about hiring someone with the potential of completing their education in college or university? Absolutely yes. I had the opportunity in that same team environment to have someone who wasn't qualified, but they had one trait in particular, which was detail orientation. And I said, you are going to become certified. I'm going to send you on training. It's $6,000 worth of training. So I have no issue at all sensing from an individual the desire. And I would take that risk.
How would you filter 100 to 200 resumes? What would be your factors?
Well, in my case, the resume is 40 pages long. So that would be one of them.
So you think somebody would read 40 pages nowadays?
Apparently, people are not willing to invest in their companies enough to get through 40 pages. You could skim it and go, oh, 30 years of experience. You could do some keyword searching and pull up enough to make a decision to get them in for at least a first interview. I would do that. Question is, what's your time worth? What's your company worth? What's Phoenix pay worth?
You didn't really answer the question.
Oh, I didn't, okay,
No.
okay.
What would be the factors? I mean, you can't, obviously in a resume, have somebody sitting there smiling on their face and
Yeah.
the body language. So what would you do when you're presented with 300 or more resumes? What would be your keywords to search on to weed those people out, to get them in so you can see them smiling and have the correct attitude that you're looking for?
It depends on the area of work. So if I'm looking for a particular skill, as opposed to a particular qualification, I'd be searching on that to try to do a word count on how many times that word showing up. Unfortunately, having said that, over time, terminology changes. And so the work that I did 30 years ago had another label from now, so that makes it very, very tough. So it could be that you wind up going through the first ones that you get. And it could be that you miss some. It's a risk. Is that?
I suggest that one of the reasons that so many resumes aren't caught is the fact that they're all computer scanned first, and therefore they pick up the keywords. No personnel officer actually ever sees them until you get the call, and the ones that are left at the wayside are just going to see.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So just say that once again, Grace.
Sorry?
Just say that once again.
The whole thing.
Just want to make sure I got it. Yeah. I liked it.
Well,
Just want to make sure I got it.
No, I suggest that one of the problems is that when resumes come in, they're scanned by computer, and they never see a personnel or human resources officer until you get to ones that the computer has already picked out. All the others are just set aside.
Is that how it's done?
That's how it's done.
Is it? Okay. So
It depends on the size of the organization.
different places have different ways, so
Well,
some do it.
government and private. I work for a private organization where we get presented with 200 resumes. And I scan through and probably 150 of them aren't even for the job that I want that's been posted. Or God knows what trade or skill they're doing.
That must drive
It's
you
very,
crazy.
very hard.
Well, I've been in a situation where I wanted people to
That's-
apply, and they didn't
that's
reject my
reality.
computer. So, there was no way of even bringing them in.
Michelle?
I suggest that in organizations like that, you might wonder if you want to work for them,
The government.
because clearly it becomes just
Just
a number,
Yeah,
a
a number.
word, or if you have the great catchphrase, so you have to think about it, that's the organization I want to be working for, and how am I going to be treated once I'm inside, so. But I can appreciate too that the folks in government, that they probably receive, not hundreds, thousands. They're not a great way, but I think they have to try and get through how to figure that out.
I'm fascinated by what Bill said. Bill said he gets resumes for a particular posting, and the person's applying for something that's completely unrelated to that one. He's sifting through to try to find who's actually applied for this thing. That would drive me nuts.
You're a first-time guest here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times is not what you know, is what you know. In your case, couldn't you have leveraged references from the previous job you did for them?
They carried me in on a stretcher and presented me. So it was, there it is. He's the guy. Nope. Not qualified. It was that.
But isn't that just a reflection of the state of the government we have now? Everybody is so scared of making a mistake.
Yeah.
So scared of saying, hey, Craig, you come in through the back door. So scared of somebody going and complaining. That's the reality of the situation. You might be the most qualified guy in the world, but because of that, they can't pick you because they're going to be in front of a judge in 2 weeks. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality.
So I see our time is up, is that right?
No, we're a long time. I'm the timer and I feel this
15.
too.
You're into 20 minutes.
I'm satisfied, I'm overjoyed that you were so interested in what was going on, that you took yourself out of the timing role, so.
Yeah, I rounded a bit.
So, once again, I encourage you to think more deeply. I'm willing to do the discernment and the extra work to get the most capable people, even if they aren't the most qualified. What was the phrase? Equivalent
To education.
to education. An exceptional exception for your organization.